Howdy guys, Matt McGregor here. Welcome back to AlphanumetriX YouTube channel. I haven't done a show for a long time, but I did a show with Tone Vase a few days ago, and it was a tremendous success for me. I just wanted to keep the iron. While the iron's hot, striker again, and try and bring you a bit of a market update. A lot's happened, obviously, with the pump in Bitcoin, which has changed the structure for the market as far as AlphanumetriX is concerned. So I wanted to run through what those changes mean for us, AlphanumetriX guys, and how BLKBoX will be affected by that, and also what to look for now. Try not to get too overhyped, but it's all good news. It's all green as far as we can see. So let's have a look at the charts and have a little play around with that. All right, so I got a little bit of criticism from the show. It was mostly really positive, and I was really stoked about the show with Tone. But a few people were calling me an idiot for shorting the market from 27,200. And I just want to be clear, I'm 100% long in the market in my HODL position, which I entered back here at $3,100. Still in all those positions. That's the majority of all of my Bitcoin that I have. It's loaded up, HODLed, offline, cold storage, not going to sell it. Don't even think about it, right? Don't trade with it. Don't want to know about it. Then I have another bag that I got into at I bought here at 17,777. I added to the position at 16,000 flat, giving me a flat swing trade average entry of 17,200. I'm still in that trade completely. That's a lot of money in that position as well. I won't say how much, but a large amount of money is still in that trade. But then I have another position as well, which is my leverage position, which I will chop and change in and out of Bitcoin. According to AlphanumetriX, I use coin margin trading, so I try and increase my position in Bitcoin. We got in at 17,200, and I closed the position out at 27,200. I made 3.2 Bitcoin on the trade. It's been a fantastic year. I reverted short at that point because the wave turned red. So I was short from 27,200, and I was in profit throughout this period as we dropped down, but then we spiked up and I covered the position at break even. I immediately reverted long. So from 27,200, I'm now 100% long in anticipation that we were going to break the structure of the wave from going from red to green when we break these descending dots here, which we have done. So I'm fully locked and loaded in all three of my accounts, 100% long, as much long as I could possibly be. I said that on the show, that a few people still thought that I was insane for saying I was short. I trade like this way. I'm hedged and leveraged either way. So that's where I sit right now. So what do you do now if you're not in the position at 30,300? I want to point something out to you. Now, the fact that the wave has turned green, you're left in a funny situation because of this dramatic spike that we've had. You could FOMO in and buy right now, which is one option. We could continually rock on from here and go up forever. It's never really happened like that in a straight line, but it could well do it. I have no idea, right? And who does? Nobody knows. It's likely that we might have a drawdown, a drop down, a sell-off, a wick down spike, whatever you want to call it. Very, very likely that that'll happen. If not now, at some stage, and I'll show you some evidence of where that happens every time. Constantly happens. Whether it's at a higher price or at a lower price, we don't know, but I'll show you on AlphanumetriX what we'd be looking for to get a more smart entry than just FOMOing in at this point. Keep in mind that in terms of BLKBoX in the trading bot, even though we've broken the wave here, we've still got 3 days and 21 hours before the confirmation. It's definitely green either way, but the trade won't be opened on BLKBoX until the candle closes. So it might be at a lot better position, or it might be at a lot worse position. There's no way to know. But you've seen that in time, the BLKBoX has had sensational results, regardless of all these little ifs and ands, and didn't get the best position or got a better position than you thought. It's part and parcel of the methodology, and in time you win. So let's just go down to a smaller time frame. I'll start with the daily time frame. We're looking at the weekly right there. I just want to go down a smaller time frame and just sort of show you what I'm talking about with these throwbacks. Okay, so as I just scan across here, this is what I'm talking about as a throwback. The whole time the wave was red, our long-term bias was bearish until the conditions changed to green. Okay, of course we entered off the weekly green diamond, but I'm just talking, I'm moving past that for now and just showing you what the wave conditions are and what throwbacks can look like. This is the best textbook throwback you'll ever have. The wave is still green. We dropped down, we got a daily green diamond while the wave was still green, as opposed to daily green diamonds when the wave is red. It's a completely different thing because we got a macro bullish condition and we had a throwback. It's a tremendous thing to see. And the reason it's such a tremendous thing to see is look how near we got to within that week of piercing our bias and flipping the wave. As you see, we drew right down. We were only a few percent away from changing our bias from bullish to bearish. That is the best time to buy. Why is that the best time to buy? Because with all of your trading, it doesn't really matter where you enter. You need to identify where you were wrong and where you're happy to get out. I don't want to get into the habit of like taking any notice of the negative comments on Twitter, but it seems that everyone on Twitter is a billionaire who can foresee the future, but I'm not, okay? I have to trade to the best of my knowledge and make the best risk reward trades I can find. So a condition like this, where we flash back down, get a green diamond on a daily time frame while the wave is green, and even if I don't cherry pick, I do the candle close, we are only 8% away from where our bias would change to bearish. So I know that there's a very short distance between where I want to enter the trade and where I would consider the trade was wrong and take the hit on the trade. That's a fantastic risk reward trade. If we flash forward to right now, okay, that dot is down here, okay, at 24,777. So the gap between entry right now, if we were to enter at this very moment, to the bias changing back to the red wave and being bearish again, macro, is 18.5%. Well, that's a pretty big gap. That's a pretty big gap. So I want to close that gap a little bit with a throwback, with a flash crash, or just a capitulation, drop back down, a retest, whatever you want to call it, whatever terminology you want. I want to shrink that gap before I feel comfortable if I missed this massive move, rather than FOMOing in. So for that, I'll drop down to the 4-hour time frame. You'll notice here that the wave has turned green. Fantastic. But look how high and how far extended we are from, first of all, that dot right there, which you can't really see, but it's there. You'll see it if you've got AlphanumetriX. That's that 18% distance. We want to try and draw the price back down and get a more nearer buy to that round. So if I just flick this to auto for a second and scan back in time, I'll show you what I mean. I'll go back to here when we had the start of the previous run. Just bear with me for a second. Yeah, this is this year. Okay, so see how we came out of a long capitulation. This is when we went down to 17 and 15, and like that was the ultimate low there at 15. We broke the wave structure, okay, changing the wave from red to green, but we still had throwbacks. We still had throwbacks into the green wave. And these were your re-entries. That there was the same one that I showed you on the daily time frame, but as it came back in, we will come out and we will always come back in at one stage. We come back in. These are your re-entries until it's not. And I'll explain this in a minute when it changes back to red. Why am I looking for these re-entries? I'm just going to reiterate the same point. We want to buy nearer to where our bias changes, okay? We want to get back inside the green wave. Every time we come back inside the green wave on a 4-hour time frame, especially with the green diamonds, we can get closer to where our bias changes. That's only 9%. Where when it was skyrocketing, it was 30%. So for me buying here, even though we're making new highs, that's so bullish. It's a very, very long way away from where I'm no longer bullish. And every week this raises and raises. So in this situation here, where we came back in to the wave, got a 4-hour green diamond, it was a perfect risk reward trade because we only had 2% to fall before the trade was null and void, which happened. It was null and void. We got out of the trade. which ultimately took us down lower. It dropped another 20% from that point, and now we're ready to rinse and repeat. Start the same principle again. And I'll just go back into the weekly for a second. I'm going to keep this video really short to explain something. Why on my trading positions, on my leverage trading positions, not my hodl position, not my swing trade, long, once every 5 years, 4 years, buy the dip, perfect buy. Why in my chop and change swing positions, I have to respect the AlphanumetriX system? Because look at these times, every time throughout the past, when we have changed red, when we have flipped and we've changed red, there has been tremendous drawdowns. That's a 40% dip. And then when we did it again, when we flipped, we got long here, we got out here. Well, we had another 44% drop. Now this, again, we'll just keep going through them. We got long here. This was the only losing trade we've had in the last few years, where we went long here and got out here, a little bit below where we entered. When the wave flipped, it came all the way down to a 60% drop. Here, it didn't. This, when we went short here, the market recovered and we didn't have a 40% drawdown. But I don't know that at the time. I don't know that's going to happen. When we were down here, we could have kept going lower and lower. Nothing can tell us that we're not going to. We don't have a crystal ball. There could have been some Binance bullshit, and the market could have done exactly the same thing it did to the upside, to the downside. There's a lot of smart cookies saying that they called this and 25 was the most obvious buy ever. I don't think it was, and I'll be the first to admit it. But it became obvious now, in hindsight, but we were in anyway. We caught it. So that's the whole point. You're not going to miss out to the long side, to the short side. There'll be a few missed trades, but they easily revert to the opposite direction again and kick you off higher. That's what I want to make the point. It's a systematic approach to trading that has a long history of being right, a long history of proving to be smart trading. You want to be in the game for a long time. We're not just taking punts, okay? Yeah, in hindsight, there was good reason. Like on a monthly time frame, you could have said, wow, we hit perfectly back down here off the 7 and 50 SMA and all that sort of stuff. But we don't know at the time. They could have curled over. Point is, my bias was short in the leverage position, and now it flipped long again, and I'm racked and ready to go with you. Let's go to 100 from here. All good. I'm with you. But that's just what I wanted to clarify in that video. Very exciting about the market right now. We are kicking off. The wave's green. We're above all the key moving averages. I'm very excited for this move, but I do expect throwbacks. And those throwbacks, while the wave is green, is buy the dip territory, where when the wave is red, it's not buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. We're looking for something bigger. We're looking for diamonds at that point, green diamonds, or the wave to change color, which it has done. Now we're in buy the dip zone. Now we're mindset is bullish. Now we're macro bullish. That's all for today. That was one take. I'm really, really, really so happy with all the new followers that I've got on YouTube and on Twitter. Reach out anytime. I've got time to answer some of your questions. I have to get used to all the flack I was copying. It's not something that anyone's ever said to my face before. I'm a pretty big guy in real life. But thanks, guys. Thank you so much for your support. BLKBoX is going to be awesome. 10th of July, we'll be launching. It's totally free trading bot utilizing AlphanumetriX strategy. It's going to be a game changer. I can't wait to bring it out to you guys and get you guys making some money. Thanks again. I might do more of these shows. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye.